Welcome to True Reddit Reads. Today's episode is Cheating Series. If you enjoy emotional Reddit stories, real-life drama, and powerful life lessons, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Your support helps the channel grow and lets us keep bringing you more incredible stories every day. Alright, let's dive in. My girlfriend confessed she got emotionally attached with her coworker for the past 3 months. My current girlfriend, the love of my life, formed an emotional connection with her colleague and hid the fact that he had confessed his feeling for her for the last 3 months. I knew of his existence and how they and a sibling sort of relationship based on the silliness of their bickering. Mind that we've been in a relationship for the last 5 years, and both of us were happy, solved every problem before going to bed, and all that sort of stuff that makes a healthy relationship. She confessed about 3 weeks back that she got distracted in our relationship and that she is enormously guilty for what she did, and I genuinely believe that she is. This came as a huge and unbelievable shock, and there had been no signs that I noticed. But the amount of trust I had for her has been shattered, and I really hope we can build things from scratch again. But currently she says she has blocked the guilt and emotions and is trying not to deal with it. I do tell her all my concerns, and she responds to all of them. What I should be doing, scared that me giving her a chance would hurt me again. But at the same time, I've also been the happiest with her in my life, motivated to work and focus on work. Can't think of losing her, but gotta at least try to work things out. Also, for more context, this guy and her don't work nearby. They are regions apart and only used to talk over the call. They bonded over the fact that they are the only child in the family and other work-related stuff. The guy said he is feeling for her, but my GF hid that from me, knowing that I would want him out of her life, and she didn't. That's where the cheating started. I would have understood if she had feeling for him and told me early on. What should I do? Please drop your comment. Story 2. You're a loser. I can't be with you. You're making me look bad, and I'm progressing, but you're holding me back. Hi guys, I don't have anyone to talk to, so I want to share this with you and get your advice on how to heal from it. My ex cheated on me. She was physically involved with someone else, and it had been going on for a long time. When I found out, she broke up with me. It's been a week since the breakup. I did everything for her. We were together for 3 years. She promised me that we would get married. I always put her above everything else, sacrificed my own things, and compromised just to make her happy. I helped her get through her tough breakup phase and gave her more than I could afford. When she got a placement in a company, I also worked hard to join the same company so we could grow together. But after 6 months, she wasn't performing well, so I helped her apply to another company, thinking everything would be fine. Eventually, she got the job there, and I was so happy for her. But after some months, she started changing. She stopped meeting me, fought with me, and started saying things like, "You're a loser. I can't be with you. You're making me look bad, and I'm progressing, but you're holding me back." One day, I saw her with someone else at our favorite place, the same day she had said she was too busy to meet me. Later, I found out that they had been physically involved one night. I'm really disturbed and don't know what to do. I called her last time and was crying, asking why she did this to me. She just laughed at me and said there was never any love, everything was a lie, and that she deserves better. I gave her my time, love, and money, basically everything, and now she's cheated on me. I feel like I just want to do something, and I still wait for her call, but she's blocked me everywhere. Please help me. How do I move on from this? Story 3. My boyfriend left me a month ago without saying anything, and I just recently found out there's been someone else, and I'm pregnant. 28 female and 34 male. My boyfriend abruptly left me a month ago without an explanation, blocked me on Facebook. I also just recently out there's been someone else. My heart dropped when I saw his photo. I almost didn't see it cause I was looking for our messages until I realized it was his photo. Why didn't he just tell me? I wish I didn't see it. And on top of that, I find out I'm 5 weeks pregnant. I didn't know what to do, so I messaged his brother out of panic and hurt. He was respectful about it and even confirmed that he's not married. This morning, he had the nerve to unblock me and basically say, "Sorry for ignoring you the last time, but honestly, I want nothing to do with you, or the baby that's supposedly mine, excuse me. You were the last person I was with. You know damn well what we did." And now he's denying it. It kills me inside. And his new girl said, "So what do you want?" "This has nothing to do with me. I don't want to tell you this, but you seem so desperate contacting his relative. If he wants to be with you, he will contact you. If ever that's his child, ask him if he will recognize the baby." "I'm so sorry this has happened to you. I don't even know what to do, or how to process this, or anything. I'm so hurt. Any advice would help. Please drop your comment." Story 4. I trusted my girl completely, but spying on her on our anniversary broke me in a way I never expected. I'm just gonna write this out how it comes in my head, so sorry if it's all over the place, but I need to get it off my chest. I am 23, she's 22, we were together for like 4 years, and honestly, she was literally everything for me, like not even exaggerating. She was the one person I talked to about everything, stupid stuff, deep stuff, all of it. We kinda grew up together, so yeah, she wasn't just my GF, she was like my person. I trusted her blindly, like the type of trust where you don't even think twice, you just know they'd never do something to hurt you, at least that's what I thought. So on our anniversary, I made her this small app, like a little memory thing, nothing crazy, just HTML, CSS, and some pics and our moments and small notes, voice clips from when we used to talk till 3 a.m., screenshots of old chats, just cute things. It honestly felt nice while I was making it because I felt close to her. But around that same time, what triggered it, but I started feeling something was off. Not a big fight or anything dramatic, just small behavior shifts. She used to reply instantly before, and suddenly she'd take hours and say, "Oh, sorry, I fell asleep," like 3 times a week, which never happened before. She'd smile, but her eyes didn't match the smile. She'd be with me, but scrolling her phone with that kinda half-hidden screen angle. Small stuff that you ignore at first, but it keeps getting louder in your head. I swear I know this is dumb, but I bought some spyware from this random guy online. I don't even know what made me do it. Insecurity? Fear? Stupidity? Probably all of it. And I put it inside the anniversary app. I didn't even think properly. I just did it. Even when I added it, something inside me felt horrible, like this heavy chest feeling, and my mind was like, "Bro, don't do this. If she finds out, you're done for life." But I ignored it and told myself, maybe it'll give me peace of mind later. Then her birthday came around, and honestly, that day felt so weird. She was acting normal, but also not. Like she laughed at jokes, but immediately went quiet after. She hugged me, but it felt like she was somewhere else mentally. I didn't sleep properly that night because the feeling just kept getting worse. The next morning, I checked it. I opened that stupid spyware dashboard. I honestly wish I didn't. I wish I deleted that thing the second I got it. Because what I saw literally broke something inside me. She wasn't just talking to her ex, she was flirting with him. Like, actually flirting. The kind that makes your stomach twist, but you can't unread it. She was calling him, "You still remember that, huh?" with smiley faces. Telling him, "You are still the same idiot I used to like." Saying stuff like, "Don't start again," with that playful tone that I thought she only ever used with me. And there were messages where she straight up said, "I miss talking like this." Bro, when I read that, I literally felt like someone just grabbed my heart and squeezed it till it hurt. My hands were shaking reading it. I kept scrolling up and down trying to convince myself I was misunderstanding, but I wasn't. You just know when something crosses a line, and these messages weren't friendly. They were emotional and flirty and familiar, and all the things I thought were ours. I felt angry, sad, betrayed, embarrassed, guilty, literally every emotion at once. And then the guilt hit even harder. BC, yes, she messed up big time. But I also messed up. I violated her privacy. I crossed a line I can't defend no matter how I try to justify it. And that screws you up, BC. You can't even fully blame her, BC. You did a wrong thing first. And the worst part? I still keep thinking, if I never checked, would I still be happy? Would we still be fine? Like, would I rather live in a lie or live with a truth that destroyed me? I honestly don't know which one is worse. Even after finding the messages, I couldn't look at her the same, and I also couldn't look at myself the same, because I know I crossed a boundary that I shouldn't have. And it's like both of us broke something sacred, but in different ways. She broke the emotional part of the relationship. I broke the trust part. After that, nothing felt real anymore. Not her words, not my own feelings. And I honestly don't think we ever fully recovered from that moment, even if she never found out what I did. BC, I knew. I felt dirty inside. Story 3. Hi Reddit, I never thought I'd be the kind of woman typing out her life at 2 a.m. while her newborn sleeps in a bassinet beside her. But here I am, bleary-eyed, exhausted, heart pounding for reasons that have nothing to do with postpartum hormones. I just need to get this story out before I explode. I'm a 29-year-old mom of two. 3 weeks ago, I gave birth to our second child, our daughter, Olivia. She's perfect. Tiny fingers, tiny breaths, that little squeak newborns make when they're dreaming. She's the only thing that feels stable in my life right now. Everything else? Crumbling. My husband, Mark, 31M, used to be my rock. At least I thought he was. When we had our first son, he was supportive and patient. He'd bring me snacks, hold the baby for hours, rub my swollen feet, make jokes to stop me from crying when I felt overwhelmed. It wasn't a perfect marriage, but it felt like teamwork, like we were building a life together. But this time something was wrong. Something dark and sharp and cold in him that I couldn't name. Maybe it started during the pregnancy. I was sicker this time. My feet swelled like balloons. My back hurt so much I could barely sleep. I was constantly tired and constantly hungry, trying to balance my job, my son, the house, and growing a whole human. I'd ask him for help sometimes. Can you take the trash out? Can you bathe our son tonight? Can you please just hold him while I rest my back? And every time, he'd sigh like I was dragging him across a desert. Why can't you just handle it? I work today too. You're always complaining now. It stung, but I kept telling myself it was temporary. That maybe he felt stressed about becoming a dad again. But then Olivia was born. And instead of snapping out of it, he got worse. He started disappearing into his phone constantly. He'd take it into the bathroom, to the garage, even outside to get air. His face would light up at messages that definitely weren't from me. When I'd ask who he was talking to, he'd brush it off. Just the guys. You're paranoid. You're so emotional lately. He slept through nighttime feedings. He complained about the baby crying. He said the house was getting messy, while I was recovering from childbirth with stitches that made sitting down feel like punishment. Then tonight happened. It was around 9 p.m. The house was quiet. Our toddler was asleep, and I had finally gotten the baby down after what felt like hours of rocking. I sat on the couch with that bone-deep exhaustion only parents of newborns understand. The kind where your body is buzzing and numb at the same time. Mark came in from the garage, scrolling on his phone with this stupid grin on his face. A grin I hadn't seen directed at me in months. Who are you smiling at? I asked gently. I wasn't accusing him. I was just tired. I wanted honesty. He rolled his eyes. Why does it matter? You're always nagging. I'm not nagging, I said quietly. I just feel like you're far away lately. He put his phone in his pocket and stared at me like I was a burden. Maybe if you took care of yourself, I wouldn't have to look at my phone so much. I blinked. What does that mean? He gestured vaguely toward my body. I was wearing comfy maternity leggings and an oversized shirt, the only things that didn't hurt my stitches. I hadn't washed my hair in 2 days. But I was 3 weeks postpartum. My body had just done something incredible. It means, he said slowly, like I was stupid, you got big. And not just pregnant big. You really let yourself go this time. I swear my heart stopped. I felt my face go hot then cold. My hands started trembling. I just had a baby, I whispered. He shrugged. Yeah, and? Lots of women bounce back. The words hit like a punch. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to disappear. My throat tightened. Why would you say something like that? Because it's true. He sank onto the couch opposite me. I'm not attracted to this. He waved his hand again, dismissive, cruel. And honestly, it's one of the reasons He cut himself off. My stomach dropped. One of the reasons you what? He looked away. His jaw clenched. And that was the moment I knew. Every red flag. Every late-night text. Every cold shoulder. Every fight. Every lie. He didn't have to say the word. It hung in the air like smoke. I stared at him, waiting, hoping he'd take it back. Say he didn't mean it. Say he was tired or angry or stressed. But he just folded his arms like he'd done nothing wrong. I gave birth 3 weeks ago, I said, my voice shaking but steady enough. My body is still healing. I'm still healing. And you're talking to me like I'm trash. He shrugged again. You asked. I looked at the man I once loved and felt something inside me quietly crack. Not a dramatic break. Not an explosion. A quiet, deep fracture. The kind that doesn't heal right. I didn't cry. Not then. I just picked up Olivia from her bassinet, walked into the bedroom, and shut the door. And now I'm sitting here beside her, writing this, because I don't know how to process the fact that the father of my children looked at my healing body, the same body that carried his babies, and saw failure. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. But I do know this. Tonight, something broke in me. Something I don't think he can ever fix. The morning after he said those words, those awful, cutting words, I woke up feeling like my chest was wrapped in stone. Heavy, tight, suffocating. I barely slept. Every time I drifted off, his voice echoed in my head. You really let yourself go. Lots of women bounce back. It's one of the reasons I... That incomplete sentence haunted me. I moved quietly around the room, nursing Olivia, changing her diaper, humming softly so she wouldn't pick up on my tension. My 2-year-old, Jonah, woke up cheerful as always, throwing himself at me with sleepy hugs. His innocence almost broke me. Mark was in the kitchen making coffee when I finally walked in. He didn't even look up. Morning, I said, trying to sound normal. He grunted. I poured cereal for Jonah, warmed up a muffin for myself that I couldn't bring myself to eat, and tried to pretend the world wasn't collapsing under my feet. I wanted something from him. An apology. A sign of guilt. A glance that said he regretted it. I got nothing. He scrolled on his phone at the counter. Just like always. After breakfast, he said he had to run out for a bit. No explanation. No time of return. Just grabbed his keys and left. Another red flag I'd ignored for months. I spent the next few hours changing diapers, wiping sticky hands, rocking the baby, folding laundry I was too exhausted to finish, and trying not to spiral. But every time I walked past his empty spot on the couch, something in me twisted. I wasn't stupid. I wasn't blind. But I was scared of the truth. By early afternoon, I couldn't take it anymore. I went into the bedroom to grab fresh blankets and noticed his phone on the nightstand. Not in his pocket. Not in the bathroom. Not glued to his hand like it had been for weeks. Just lying there. A part of me screamed to leave it alone. A bigger part of me, the part that had been beaten down by weeks of distance and that cruel comment, said, something is already wrong. Knowing won't make it worse. My hand shook as I picked it up. The screen lit up with a notification. Can't wait to see you again, Red Heart. My heart slammed against my ribs. I tapped the message thread, feeling sick, terrified, hollow, and angry all at once. The texts weren't from the guys. They weren't from a coworker. They weren't innocent. They were from a woman saved under the name Melissa Jim. Except the messages had nothing to do with the gym. I scrolled through photos, selfies she sent. Nothing explicit, but enough to make my stomach twist. Enough to make me sit down on the edge of the bed because I suddenly felt dizzy. I saw messages from him too. Compliments. Flirting. Plans to meet. And one message that made my hands go numb. I just need someone who still takes care of themselves, you know? She stopped trying. My vision blurred. My chest tightened. I wasn't crying, I was shaking. My newborn started fussing, a soft cry from the bassinet, and that sound jolted me back to reality. I put down his phone like it was something poisonous and picked her up, holding her close while my entire world tilted. I didn't even hear the front door open. Why are you in here? I turned around. Mark stood in the doorway, keys still in hand. His expression? Not guilty. Just annoyed. My voice came out small. Your phone was buzzing. I saw the messages. He didn't deny it. He didn't panic. He didn't apologize. He just rolled his eyes and walked past me to grab the phone. Well, since you already saw it, yeah. I've been talking to her. My stomach dropped. Talking? He shrugged. Fine. Seeing her. I felt like the air had been punched out of me. You've been cheating on me? Don't say it like that, he snapped. You make it sound worse than it is. My jaw dropped. Because it is worse. I'm 3 weeks postpartum. We have 2 kids. You've been sneaking around instead of being here with us. He folded his arms. What did you expect, huh? You're always tired, always stressed. You don't. I don't know, put effort into yourself anymore. I stared at him, shocked. I just had a baby. My body is still healing. I'm barely sleeping. He shook his head like he was the one disappointed. Other women bounce back, he repeated, like it was some universal truth. And then he said it, the line that cracked everything wide open. I didn't sign up for a wife who gives up on herself. My breath hitched. I didn't give up on myself. I gave birth to our daughter. He shrugged. Melissa takes care of herself. She actually looks good. My hands tightened around Olivia protectively. So, that's why you said what you said last night? Yeah, he said. You should know the reason. The room went still. No sounds. No thoughts. Just a roaring in my ears. He was blaming me for his cheating. Not his choices. Not his secrecy. Not his betrayal. Me. The woman who had been carrying his child 3 weeks ago. Get out, I whispered. He blinked. What? Get out. My voice cracked on the last word, but I held eye contact. I don't want you near me right now. He scoffed, but he left the room. I stood there holding my baby, shaking from adrenaline and heartbreak, trying not to crumble under the weight of everything I'd just learned. He didn't cheat because of me. He cheated because he wanted to. And that sentence, I didn't sign up for a wife who gives up on herself, played in my mind like poison. Because the truth was, I hadn't given up on myself. But somewhere along the way, he had given up on us. If you've ever had your heart broken in one brutal moment, you'll understand what the next few hours felt like. Everything felt blurry, distant, like I was watching my own life through fogged glass. I carried Olivia around the house like she was my anchor, because she was. Every time she made a little cooing sound, it grounded me, reminded me I wasn't dreaming, reminded me I still had something pure and precious, even if everything else felt rotten. Mark stayed in the living room, pacing around, muttering under his breath as if I'd wronged him. Like I'd betrayed him. The audacity of it made my chest tighten, but I didn't have the strength for another confrontation. Not yet. While the baby slept on my chest, I sat in the rocking chair and let my mind replay everything. Every moment I thought was love. Every sign I ignored. The cracks had been there from the beginning. I just painted over them with hope. We met 5 years ago at a friend's backyard barbecue. He was charming, loud in a way that filled a room, confident, funny. He asked for my number before dessert was even served. At the time, I thought it meant something special. Like he knew instantly that we were meant to be. Now, looking back, I think he just liked attention. Mine was easy to get back then. Our dating phase was hot and fast. Weekend trips. Late night takeout. Laughing until we cried. He called me his girl, introduced me to everyone, made me feel wanted. I had no reason to question it. No reason to doubt him. Soulmate, I used to call him. I cringe writing that now. After we got married, the first little cracks began to show. Not full-on problems, just hints. Little jokes about other women at the gym. Harmless, he'd say. Comments about how he used to be in better shape. Comparisons between me and friends' wives. Subtle, but they stung. Nothing deal-breaking. Nothing that made me think, run. Just tiny red flags I wrote off as normal marriage stuff. Then I got pregnant with Jonah, our firstborn, and the shift was noticeable. He was supportive for the first few months, but by the end, when I was dealing with swelling and exhaustion, he started getting distant. Less affectionate. More time on his phone. More nights out with the guys. But then Jonah was born, and for a little while, he snapped back into being the man I married. He was attentive again. Proud. Excited. He took pictures with our son every day. I thought things were fine. But really, he only came close when it was easy. When life was cute and Instagram ready. When things got hard, he pulled away. When I got pregnant with Olivia, everything changed. I was sicker, more tired. My doctor warned me early that this pregnancy would be tougher. I remember one night I was lying on the bathroom floor, nauseous, shaking, crying. Mark walked in, took one look at me, and said, "Babe, can you keep it down? I have a Zoom meeting early tomorrow." I should have known then. I did know, but I was so deep in survival mode that I pushed it aside. He stopped coming to appointments with me. He stopped asking how I felt. He stopped doing small things that make a partnership a partnership. And then the phone started becoming his lifeline. Always face down. Always locked. Always in his hand. Every time I asked what was going on, he'd say, "You're just overthinking because you're pregnant." Or, "You're too emotional lately." And I believed him, because that's what I'd been taught to do. Sitting in the rocking chair, I replayed all of it at once. Every ignored warning, every dismissive comment, every moment he made me feel like I was too much or not enough. It hit me like a wave. He hadn't changed overnight. He had been drifting away for a long time. I'd just been too busy loving him to notice. As I rocked Olivia, a memory hit me so hard I actually gasped. About 2 months before I gave birth, I asked him if he could skip a night out so we could have one quiet evening together. I was exhausted. I needed help. I needed him. He sighed loudly and said, "I'm not your babysitter. You can handle yourself for one night." I remember laughing it off, pretending it didn't hurt. But now, looking back, that sentence was the turning point. He didn't see me as a partner. They weren't innocent. They were from a woman saved under the name Melissa Jim. Except the messages had nothing to do with the gym. I scrolled through photos, selfies she sent. Nothing explicit, but enough to make my stomach twist. Enough to make me sit down on the edge of the bed, because I suddenly felt dizzy. I saw messages from him too. Compliments. Flirting. Plans to meet. And one message that made my hands go numb. "I just need someone who still takes care of themselves, you know?" She stopped trying. My vision blurred. My chest tightened. I wasn't crying, I was shaking. My newborn started fussing, a soft cry from the bassinet, and that sound jolted me back to reality. I put down his phone like it was something poisonous and picked her up, holding her close while my entire world tilted. I didn't even hear the front door open. "Why are you in here?" I turned around. Mark stood in the doorway, keys still in hand. His expression? Not guilty. Just annoyed. My voice came out small. "Your phone was buzzing." I saw the messages. He didn't deny it. He didn't panic. He didn't apologize. He just rolled his eyes and walked past me to grab the phone. "Well, since you already saw it, yeah. I've been talking to her." My stomach dropped. "Talking?" He shrugged. "Fine. Seeing her." I felt like the air had been punched out of me. "You've been cheating on me?" "Don't say it like that," he snapped. "You make it sound worse than it is." My jaw dropped. Because it is worse. I'm 3 weeks postpartum. We have 2 kids. You've been sneaking around instead of being here with us. He folded his arms. "What did you expect, huh? You're always tired, always stressed. You don't, I don't know, put effort into yourself anymore." I stared at him, shocked. I just had a baby. My body is still healing. I'm barely sleeping. He shook his head like he was the one disappointed. "Other women bounce back," he repeated, like it was some universal truth. And then he said it, the line that cracked everything wide open. "I didn't sign up for a wife who gives up on herself." My breath hitched. I didn't give up on myself. I gave birth to our daughter. He shrugged. "Melissa takes care of herself. She actually looks good." My hands tightened around Olivia protectively. "So, that's why you said what you said last night?" "Yeah," he said. "You should know the reason." The room went still. No sounds. No thoughts. Just a roaring in my ears. He was blaming me for his cheating. Not his choices. Not his secrecy. Not his betrayal. Me. The woman who had been carrying his child 3 weeks ago. "Get out," I whispered. He blinked. "What? Get out?" My voice cracked on the last word, but I held eye contact. "I don't want you near me right now." He scoffed. but he left the room. I stood there holding my baby, shaking from adrenaline and heartbreak, trying not to crumble under the weight of everything I'd just learned. He didn't cheat because of me. He cheated because he wanted to. And that sentence, "I didn't sign up for a wife who gives up on herself," played in my mind like poison. Because the truth was, I hadn't given up on myself. But somewhere along the way, he had given up on us. If you've ever had your heart broken in one brutal moment, you'll understand what the next few hours felt like. Everything felt blurry, distant, like I was watching my own life through fogged glass. I carried Olivia around the house like she was my anchor, because she was. Every time she made a little cooing sound, it grounded me, reminded me I wasn't dreaming, reminded me I still had something pure and precious, even if everything else felt rotten. Mark stayed in the living room, pacing around, muttering under his breath as if I'd wronged him, like I'd betrayed him. The audacity of it made my chest tighten, but I didn't have the strength for another confrontation. Not yet. While the baby slept on my chest, I sat in the rocking chair and let my mind replay everything. Every moment I thought was love. Every sign I ignored. The cracks had been there from the beginning. I just painted over them with hope. We met 5 years ago at a friend's backyard barbecue. He was charming, loud in a way that filled a room, confident, funny. He asked for my number before dessert was even served. At the time, I thought it meant something special. Like he knew instantly that we were meant to be. Now, looking back, I think he just liked attention. Mine was easy to get back then. Our dating phase was hot and fast. Weekend trips. Late-night takeout. Laughing until we cried. He called me his girl, introduced me to everyone, made me feel wanted. I had no reason to question it. No reason to doubt him. Soulmate, I used to call him. I cringe writing that now. After we got married, the first little cracks began to show. Not full-on problems, just hints. Little jokes about other women at the gym. Harmless, he'd say. Comments about how he used to be in better shape. Comparisons between me and friends' wives. Subtle, but they stung. Nothing deal-breaking. Nothing that made me think, run. Just tiny red flags I wrote off as normal marriage stuff. Then I got pregnant with Jonah, our firstborn, and the shift was noticeable. He was supportive for the first few months, but by the end, when I was dealing with swelling and exhaustion, he started getting distant. Less affectionate. More time on his phone. More nights out with the guys. But then Jonah was born, and for a little while, he snapped back into being the man I married. He was attentive again. Proud. Excited. He took pictures with our son every day. I thought things were fine. But really, he only came close when it was easy. When life was cute and Instagram ready. When things got hard, he pulled away. When I got pregnant with Olivia, everything changed. I was sicker. More tired. My doctor warned me early that this pregnancy would be tougher. I remember one night I was lying on the bathroom floor, nauseous, shaking, crying. Mark walked in, took one look at me, and said, "Babe, can you keep it down? I have a Zoom meeting early tomorrow." I should have known then. I did know, but I was so deep in survival mode that I pushed it aside. He stopped coming to appointments with me. He stopped asking how I felt. He stopped doing small things that make a partnership a partnership. And then the phone started becoming his lifeline. Always face down. Always locked. Always in his hand. Every time I asked what was going on, he'd say, "You're just overthinking because you're pregnant." Or, "You're too emotional lately." And I believed him, because that's what I'd been taught to do. Sitting in the rocking chair, I replayed all of it at once. Every ignored warning, every dismissive comment, every moment he made me feel like I was too much or not enough. It hit me like a wave. He hadn't changed overnight. He had been drifting away for a long time. I'd just been too busy loving him to notice. As I rocked Olivia, a memory hit me so hard I actually gasped. About 2 months before I gave birth, I asked him if he could skip a night out so we could have one quiet evening together. I was exhausted. I needed help. I needed him. He sighed loudly and said, "I'm not your babysitter. You can handle yourself for one night." I remember laughing it off, pretending it didn't hurt. But now, looking back, that sentence was the turning point. He didn't see me as a partner. Sensitive. I whispered. You call me fat 3 weeks after I gave birth. He shrugged again. Well, what do you want me to say? I was being honest. Honest. My voice cracked. You know what honesty is? Saying, I'm worried about you. Not tearing down someone who's healing. He leaned forward, brow furrowed. Look, you can twist this however you want, but you're not taking care of yourself. Melissa. The name hit me like ice water. Don't you dare say her name in this house, I said quietly. He looked shocked for a second, like he wasn't expecting me to push back. He sighed. Whatever. The point is, she actually puts effort in. She works out. She dresses nice. She doesn't. That's enough, I said, standing up. He stopped mid-sentence. I'm done listening to you compare me to another woman while I'm holding our newborn, I said, voice shaking but strong. I'm done letting you talk to me like I'm a burden. I'm done accepting the bare minimum and calling it love. He stared at me like he didn't recognize me. What are you even saying? I'm saying, I breathed, that I'm done with you treating me like I'm disposable. He laughed, actually laughed. Oh, please. You're not going anywhere. Something about his confidence, his certainty that I would always stay, lit something fierce in me. He stood up too. You can't handle 2 kids on your own. You can't even handle the house as it is. That was the final strike. I looked him dead in the eyes. The only thing I can't handle is you. His face hardened. So what? You're leaving? I didn't say that, I replied. But things are going to change. Starting now. He scoffed. You're being dramatic. No, I said. I'm finally seeing clearly. He grabbed his keys off the counter. I'm not doing this. I'm going out. Of course you are, I whispered. He slammed the door behind him. The house shook. The baby stirred. And I stood in the quiet afterward, heartbroken, angry, exhausted, and more determined than I had been in a long time. I didn't know if I had the strength to leave yet. I didn't know what the future looked like. But for the first time in months, I felt like I had a voice again. The breaking point wasn't the cheating. It wasn't the insult. It wasn't even the disrespect. It was the realization that I had stayed soft in a world that kept trying to harden me. And now? Now something inside me was waking up. Something fierce. Something protective. Something ready, finally, to stop accepting the version of love he kept offering. Because if he wasn't going to choose me, I would choose myself. The night Mark stormed out, the house felt eerily quiet. Too quiet. No footsteps. No sarcastic comments. No cold presence. Just silence. And somehow, that silence was louder than any argument we'd ever had. I walked into the nursery, scooped Olivia from her crib, and held her against my chest. Jonah was asleep down the hall, peaceful, unaware of the storm swirling around his parents. I envied his little world, his safety, his innocence. I sat down on the rocking chair, letting the soft creak fill the room while the weight of everything settled on me. Mark cheated. Mark blamed me. Mark told me I wasn't enough. Mark acted like I was the problem. For years, I had been bending, twisting myself into knots to make the marriage work, swallowing the little hurts, painting over the cracks. But tonight, the truth was unavoidable. You cannot build a future with someone who treats your pain like an inconvenience. I should have cried more. I expected to. But instead, something different happened. A calmness washed over me. Not the peaceful kind. The determined kind. The kind that comes just before someone rebuilds their entire life. That night, as the rocking chair moved rhythmically beneath me, I whispered to myself, "You don't deserve this. And your kids don't deserve to grow up thinking this is normal." I looked down at Olivia, her tiny hands curled against my shoulder, her breath soft and steady. And suddenly, her whole life flashed before me. Would she grow up thinking this was what marriage looked like? Would she believe love meant tolerating disrespect? Would she learn to shrink herself to keep someone else comfortable? Not if I had anything to do with it. Jonah too, my sweet bright boy. Would he grow up believing it was acceptable to treat a partner the way his father treated me? To compare, to criticize, to dismiss? Not on my watch. My kids would learn love from watching me, watching how I fought for myself, watching how I healed, watching how I walked away from anything that tried to break me. It was nearly 1 a.m. when I finally heard Mark's car in the driveway. I was still awake, sitting on the couch with the TV muted. I wasn't waiting up for him. I just couldn't sleep. He walked in without looking at me, smelling faintly like cologne that wasn't his. He might as well have been wearing a neon sign that said I've been with her. He tossed his keys on the table. You're still up? I didn't bother answering his fake concern. I'm tired, I said simply. I'm going to bed. He nodded, distracted. Yeah, whatever. I walked to the bedroom, shut the door gently, and for the first time, locked it. When the latch clicked into place, it felt symbolic, like a line drawn in titanium. He knocked softly after a few seconds. Seriously? Good night, Mark, I said through the door. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't explain. I just set a boundary. He didn't like it. He jiggled the handle once, muttered something under his breath, then stomped off to the couch. I lay down beside Olivia's bassinet and exhaled. This was the first step. Small, quiet, but powerful. The next morning, I woke up before the kids, something I hadn't done in weeks. My mind was sharp, focused, heavy but steady. Mark was in the kitchen when I walked in, making coffee. He looked up, waiting for me to say something. To apologize. To return to normal. I didn't. Morning, I said, neutral. About last night, he started. I held up my hand gently. I don't want to talk about last night. He blinked, thrown off. For once, he wasn't in control of the conversation. But we can't just ignore. Yes, I said calmly, we can. For now. Because you need to understand something. I'm done being your emotional punching bag. I'm done begging for respect. And I'm done pretending everything is okay while you're out doing whatever you want. His jaw tightened. So, what are you saying? I'm saying, I said, steady, strong, that I need space. And you need to figure out whether you want to be a husband or someone who walks away from his responsibilities. His eyebrows shot up. Are you threatening me? No, I said. I'm setting expectations. Something I should have done a long time ago. He scoffed. This is ridiculous. No, I repeated quietly. What's ridiculous is cheating on the mother of your children and blaming her for it. He looked away first. While the kids napped that afternoon, I picked up my phone and dialed a number I had avoided for years. My older sister, Maya. We hadn't been as close lately. Life got busy, and I didn't want anyone worrying about me. I had always been the one in the family who tried to look strong. But right now, I needed help. And admitting that wasn't weakness, it was bravery. She answered on the second ring. Hey, how's the baby? How are you feeling? I swallowed hard. Maya, I need to tell you something. And then everything came pouring out. Not perfectly, not in order, but truthfully. Raw. Vulnerable. She didn't interrupt. She didn't judge. She didn't rush me. When I finished, she exhaled sharply. Oh my God. Honey, why didn't you call me sooner? I felt tears gather, but not the heartbreaking kind. The relieved kind. I didn't want to admit what was happening, I said. Well, you admitted it now, she said firmly. And you're not doing this alone. I'm here. Whatever you need. The moment she said those words, I felt a weight lift from my chest. Support. A lifeline. Someone in my corner. It changed everything. By the time we hung up, I had clarity. And no more ignoring reality. No more shrinking myself to keep peace. No more letting Mark dictate the direction of my life. My plan wasn't fully shaped yet, but the outline was there. Step 1. Set boundaries. Step 2. Document everything. Step 3. Get support. Step 4. Decide what kind of future I want for myself and my kids. Leaving wasn't off the table. Staying without change wasn't either. But one thing was clear. I would never again let him convince me that my worth depended on how quickly I bounced back. My kids deserved a strong mother. And I deserved a life where I wasn't constantly fighting to be seen. And so Chapter 5 ended, not with chaos, but with something even stronger, a quiet, fierce beginning. I never imagined that the quietest morning of my life would become the turning point of everything. There was no screaming, no dramatic music, no crashing thunder. Just the soft hum of the baby monitor, the smell of cereal my toddler spilled on the couch, and the heavy calm that only comes after months of emotional exhaustion. My husband left early for work that day. I watched him grab his keys and walk out without a word, not even a glance in my direction. A few months earlier, that would have shattered me. Now all I felt was nothing. A cold, steady nothingness that, ironically, gave me clarity I'd been begging for. I had already packed the kids' bags the night before. Tiny clothes, diapers, birth certificates, my important documents, my laptop, the last $180 I had saved from grocery money. I had been hiding things slowly, quietly, the way someone hides matches before starting a fire, not to burn something down, but to finally light their way. My sister texted me at 7:14 a.m. Say the word. I'm ready. She had taken off work, parked 3 blocks down so he wouldn't see her car. I didn't respond yet. My hands shook a little, not from fear but from the weight of finality. This wasn't like all the other times I thought about leaving. This wasn't a threat or an argument. This was the real moment. My newborn was asleep in her bassinet, making those soft little breaths babies make. My toddler was in the living room watching cartoons with a blanket half on, half off. Life looked normal. Completely normal. And yet everything was about to change forever. I took a deep breath, one of those deep ones that feel like they pull your whole soul out, and whispered to myself, "This is it." I picked up my newborn, strapped her into the car seat, grabbed my toddler's little hand, and walked out the door. I didn't even close it fully behind me. Something in me wanted it to stay open, as if closing it would mean he still had some kind of claim on me. My sister pulled up within seconds when she saw us. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice soft but steady. "No," I said, "but I will be." She didn't ask anything else. She just helped me load the kids and drove. As we pulled away from the house, our house, the place where I laughed, cried, gave birth, fought, begged, and slowly lost myself, I expected to feel guilt, or panic, or fear. But what I felt was lightness, not happiness. Not yet, but space, air, room to breathe. We drove to my sister's home, where she had already set up the guest room with a bassinet and extra blankets. She even had groceries stocked, toys for my toddler, and a quiet corner with a lamp where she knew I'd sit at night to cry, or journal, or simply be. "Take as long as you need," she said. And I believed her. I fed the baby, laid her down, and for the first time in months, I sat without listening for footsteps, without bracing for an insult, without waiting for someone to criticize the body that carried 2 children. Around noon, my phone started buzzing. First message, "Where are you?" I didn't answer. Second message, "Are you serious? This is childish." Still nothing. Third message, "You're overreacting. Come home." That one made me laugh. Actually laugh. Imagine calling the wife you cheated on, insulted, blamed, and emotionally abandoned, an overreactor. Classic. Then came the angry calls. Then the fake crying voicemails. Then the dramatic, "I can't live like this" texts. All his tactics. All the usual manipulation. But none of it pierced me this time. Therapy had taught me to recognize patterns. Pain had taught me to detach. Motherhood had taught me to protect at all costs. By late afternoon, he was threatening to come get his family back. I blocked him and emailed him instead, short, simple, emotionless. "I have left with the children for our safety and well-being. All communication will go through email. We can discuss next steps with a mediator." I hit send, then closed my laptop with a calmness I didn't know I had in me. That night, my sister sat with me on the couch while my kids slept in the next room. I cried a little, not because I missed him, but because I finally realized how long I had been surviving instead of living. I can't believe I stayed after everything he said, I whispered. You stayed because you loved him, she said. Now you left because you love yourself too. That line broke something open in me. He didn't cheat because I gained weight after giving birth. He didn't cheat because my body changed. He didn't cheat because I wasn't enough. He cheated because somewhere inside him, he lacked empathy, loyalty, discipline, and basic decency. His choices were not a reflection of my worth. They were a reflection of his emptiness. As I lay in the guest bed that night, my newborn curled on my chest, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. I didn't know what the future looked like. I didn't know how hard it would be. I didn't know how many nights I would cry again. But I knew one thing for certain. I had finally walked away. And I wasn't going back. If anyone had told me that rebuilding myself would start with something as tiny as taking a shower without rushing, I would have laughed in their face. But that first week in my sister's place, the smallest things felt life-changing. Like waking up without dread. Like hearing my toddler laugh and realizing I wasn't tense waiting for a fight to start. Like rocking my newborn to sleep and feeling peace instead of pressure. Healing didn't look like some big inspirational movie moment. It looked like slow mornings, supportive friends, and me relearning how to exist without being criticized for breathing wrong. The first full night there, my sister knocked gently on the door. You should sleep. I'll stay up with the baby. I almost cried because I didn't realize how starved I'd been for help. My husband used to complain about waking up even once. Meanwhile, I was running on 2-hour sleep cycles for months, holding the whole household together while he texted other women. At my sister's, I slept 5 hours straight for the first time since giving birth. When I woke up, my mind felt clearer, not healed, just less foggy. That morning, I made myself oatmeal and actually enjoyed eating it. I didn't hear a voice criticizing me. I didn't feel someone staring at me like I was a problem. I just ate, fed the kids, put on clean clothes, and took a breath that didn't hurt. My therapist had been waiting for me to leave. She didn't say it outright, but I could hear the relief in her voice when I emailed her. I'm proud of you. Now we start the real work. The real work was hard, brutal even, not because of my husband, but because of everything I had internalized. The guilt, the feeling that maybe I failed the marriage, the constant second-guessing, the fear of the unknown, the exhaustion that wrapped around my bones like ivy. But with each session, I learned pieces of truth I should have known long ago. My body wasn't a failure. Postpartum exhaustion isn't a character flaw. I deserved partnership, not punishment. Emotional abuse doesn't have to involve yelling. Sometimes it's silence, neglect, and blame. Love shouldn't feel like fear. I started journaling every night, even if it was just 3 sentences. Some days it was, I am tired. The baby cried a lot. But I'm safe. Other days, I poured out paragraphs about my marriage, how I shrank myself to feel acceptable, how I stopped wearing certain clothes because I didn't want to hear comments, how I stopped asking for help because I hated being made to feel like a burden. Writing it down made everything real in a way I had avoided for years. My toddler adjusted quickly. Kids are so resilient, it scares me sometimes. She laughed louder, slept better, and even hugged me more often, as if she sensed something had lifted. One night, while I was folding laundry in the guest room, she came in holding her stuffed bunny. Mommy, you're happy today. I froze. It hit me so hard that my throat closed up. I hadn't realized how much sadness I had carried on my face. Children see everything, even the things we try to hide. Meanwhile, my husband kept emailing in waves, angry, apologetic, blaming, bargaining, repeating the cycle. My sister helped me stay firm and only answer with factual, custody-related information. No emotions. No opening for manipulation. He tried sending long paragraphs about how he missed his family, and I can change, followed by the classics. You're being dramatic. You're breaking our home. You're ruining our children's lives. But those messages didn't land anymore. The version of me who would have cried over them didn't exist anymore. During this time, I also realized how much I had neglected my friendships. When I finally reached out and explained what had been going on, every single one said the same thing. We were waiting for you to see what we already saw. That stung, but it also comforted me. I wasn't alone. People had noticed the change in me, the sadness, the isolation, the shrinking, even when I pretended everything was normal. We planned small outings. Nothing big, just trips to the park with the kids, coffee runs, grocery shopping without anxiety tightening my chest. Being around supportive people reminded me that kindness was normal, not the exception. The more time passed, the more anger slowly replaced guilt. Not the kind of anger that boils over, the quiet kind that brings clarity. He didn't get to take my self-worth with him. He didn't get to define me by his choices. He didn't get to rewrite the narrative to make me the villain. He didn't get to damage my confidence forever. Every day, I felt more like myself. A little stronger, a little clearer, a little more willing to believe I deserved good things. One night, about 6 weeks after I left, I put both kids to bed, sat by the window with a cup of tea, and finally allowed myself to imagine a future without him. Not a future defined by fear, judgment, or walking on eggshells. A future defined by peace, stability, respect, love, whether that love came from me or someone someday worthy. And in that moment, I whispered something I hadn't said in a long time. I'm going to be okay. And for the first time, I believed it. Wow, what a roller coaster of emotions. What would you do if you were in this situation? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I really want to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another emotional, real-life Reddit story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.